So in my last video where I did a struggle run on floor 12 of the version 4.2 Spiral Abyss, I asked you guys for any team comps or characters you wanted to see. My first comment from Turtle Bear recommended Lisa, Barbara, Amber, and Hydro Traveler. Now, my friend here obviously just wants to see me struggle and probably doesn't even think I can clear with these characters. Well, guess what? I can clear with them and with 9 stars too. So, I did some brainstorming and decided for the first half I'd use Neuvillette, Hydro Traveler, Amber, and Zhongli. For the second half, I used Alhazen, Lisa, Barbara, and Yao Yao. Basically, it's just been Neuvillette and Alhazen carrying the team since I didn't want to build those 4 characters. Except they couldn't. Unfortunately, I forgot to record the attempt with this team, but Alhazen couldn't do enough damage to the Jade Plume Terror Shroom. Okay, nobody calls it that, it's a Dendro Chicken. Anyway, Alhazen couldn't do enough damage to the Dendro Chicken since it has significant Dendro resistance, and he was the only damage dealer on the team. Lisa couldn't make up for his loss of damage since she couldn't get enough energy to burst every rotation. Even though I had 200% energy recharge on her, it didn't matter since this team just generated almost no particles. So for the second attempt, in the first half I decided to have Neuvillette carry Lisa in addition to the other 2. And in the second half, Alhazen got Fischl to help kill the Dendro Chicken, as well as Baidru to help with buffing, resistance shred, and additional healing. However, this team did not work out either. I had no problem killing the Dendro Chicken, but the third chamber was a huge problem. Neuvillette could heal himself, but the other 3 could not. They kept dying. On top of that, I do not have C1 Neuvillette, so he kept getting interrupted and losing a lot of time in the first half, making it impossible for Alhazen to clear the second half in time. So at this point, I started contemplating my life choices and the meaning of life. I wondered if I would actually have to build these 4 characters instead of just tossing some leftover artifacts on them. But then I came up with a new strategy that I was sure would work out. Once again, I put Neuvillette in the first half along with Hydro Traveler since there are a lot of pyro shields to break in the first half. Amber is also here again to help Neuvillette gain stacks of past draconic glories and occasionally help him vaporize. And Zhongli is also here again to prevent Neuvillette from getting constantly interrupted, as well as to prevent the other 2 from dying. So I actually put an Archaic Petra set on Hydro Traveler. That's right, you heard right. I didn't even bother to fully level them cause Hydro Traveler does no damage anyway. If I had an usable Archaic Petra set, I would have put it on Zhongli instead since Tenacity of the Millilith doesn't really help Neuvillette. But since I didn't, I just put it on Hydro Traveler and let him pick up the crystallized shards instead. As for Amber, I thought she would be able to do some damage since her burst actually has a pretty high multiplier. So I left her on a Windblume ode, but it turns out that she still does almost no damage, so I should have given her a Favonius bow instead. But it's alright, I just don't manage to clear without it. Now in the second half, we had to abandon Alhazen. Lisa had to be a strong and independent woman and carry herself. I didn't want to, but I spent some resin to ascend her and get her to level 89. I wanted to stack EM on her and have her be a Hyper Bloom carry, and levels are important for that. Like the other 2, I just gave her some leftover artifacts, so she only ended up with a 2-piece set, but it was still enough to get her over 1000 elemental mastery. So I put Fischl along with Lisa to help with energy and damage, and then once again put Barbara on this team. Barbara didn't have much. She was holding a level 20 Thrilling Tales, but it's okay since it's R5. She was also using a Maiden's Beloved set that I had on her since the beginning of the game. I was too lazy to switch, but an ocean-hued clam set definitely would have been better. In the last slot, I put Baidru again because it was impossible to rely on Barbara's healing in the third chamber against Coppelius, who kept freezing me. And besides healing, I needed him to apply Dendro for Aggravate and Hyperbloom. But above all, he really made a difference to this team with the Favonius Codex, because Lisa and Barbara basically make no energy particles. It was because of Baidru that this team could use their bursts at all. Even with all the planning I did though, I still died and had to restart a lot. I've lost track of how many times it happened, and I'm not going to make you guys watch all of it. I also had to restart the entire floor. Twice. The first time, Fisher died as I cleared Chamber 2, but got revived by my C6 Barbara. This made the game bug out, and I had to leave, only to return and find out that my Fisher died anyway, so I had to restart the entire floor. The second time, I was super close to finishing Chamber 3 in time, but ended up accidentally clearing before I could click retry. I was very sad. Anyways, here's the winning clear. In the end, I think it took over 3 hours of trying. That includes the time I spent experimenting with the failed teams, as well as the time I wasted having to restart the entire floor twice. To be honest, it would have been a lot easier if I simply had C1 Nouvellette, or actually bothered to properly build those 4 characters. Hydro Traveler on his own isn't great, but he did make a good battery for Nouvellette. He could also help with breaking the Pyro Shields, which was super important for this abyss. Amber, on the other hand, would sometimes mess with the enemy's patterns due to the taunt on her Baron Bunny. But she didn't feel too heavy since she does generate some energy particles. She also helps stack Nouvellette's passive and occasionally sets up a Vaporize. Barbara is just Barbara. She mainly gave Fischl a big attack buff with Thrilling Tales. I wish her E didn't apply Hydro every other second and cause you to get frozen, but I did have to use it anyway just so the team could generate blooms. Thankfully, Baidru could keep the team alive through the freeze. Lisa would honestly have a pretty good kit if her tab E just generated some particles, or if her hold E didn't take a million years to charge. I'm pretty sure she did pull her weight on the team though, since Fischl alone wouldn't have been enough damage. Anyway, I don't have commentary for the entire run, but I'm providing the full clear anyway just so you guys can see proof. Feel free to skip ahead if you just want my final summary.
Music! 影の辛さが命の重みを知りなさい。早く投降しなさい。ちょっとビリビリさ逃がさないわよ。逃がさようやくは口に見ます。断罪のないちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさないわよ。逃がさないわよ。薬も毒になり得ます。すぐにこれ式の痛み元気出して夜の剣しびれさせちゃうわよ。ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさないわよ。治療しないとな。逃がさないわよ。姿をさあ苦尽寛来です。ようやくは口に見ます。やみつきにならないでね。ちょっとミュージックお嬢様のちょっとビリビリさせないとね。剣女盤石百発百中いけ騒ぐ 放末となるがいい。神戸を垂れろ。難攻不落。
ウサギ伯爵出撃。
私は帰ってきた。静粛に。
頼んだわよ。
神戸を垂れろ高き。私は下げす。すぐに直してみましょう。
みんなを守る。断罪の
ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさないわよ。逃がさないわよ。ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。
薬も毒になり得ない。
影のカラスが
逃がさないわよ。
命の重みを知りなさい。
ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさないわよ。
ミュージック姿を見せ。
逃がさないわよ。ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。
治療しないとな。
夜の
逃がさないわよ。
すぐに直してみましょう。
断罪の名において
ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさない。
薬も毒になり得ます。岩山八キロ。静粛に。放末となるがいい。私は帰ってきた。騒ぐな。天理チョーク。難攻不落。激流に飲まれろ高き。私は下げず。神戸を垂れろ。岩山八と騒ぐの。さあ苦人勘。
ミュージック
お嬢様の
やみつきになら。
それ。
治療しないとな。
これ式の痛み。ようやくは口に見ない命の重みを知りなさい。さあ
いた元気出してよ。
早く投降し。逃がさないわよ。
治療しないとな。
すぐに直してあげましょ
答えなさい。
逃がさないわよ。ちょっとビリビリ。
よっみんなを守っ
夜の
命の重みを知りなさい。薬も毒になり得ます。
しびれさせちゃうわよ。逃がさないわよ。
断罪のな
ちょっとビリビリ。
すぐに直してあげましょう。
逃がさないわよ。
So with this clear, I have proven, not that I can clear Abyss with some of the weakest characters in the game, but that Neuvillette is so overpowered he can carry 2 useless teams on his back. And also, Hyperbloom is a super busted elemental reaction. Once again, if there's any other team comp or characters you'd like to see me use, just leave me a comment below. See you guys next time!